Hey everyone, Luke here, and yes, as you can see, I got a haircut. My sister did that for me, so big thanks to her. Really good, really nice. Like it like this. And all I can say at this point in time with the Promised Neverland anime, it's ran its course. Like, it's ran its course for me. I'm pretty much done with it. I'm not expecting anything great out of the next few episodes, because after last week's, which was a recap episode of things that we already know, and of the last 4 weeks, it's like, it was a complete waste, and I just really want to get my thoughts out in a proper video at some point in the future. So I'll wait until the entire series comes and goes, and then I'll do a proper video. I won't be doing it like going through every single episode. I'm just going to do it as one big recap episode, just get all my thoughts out of the way on that front. And I'll probably do the same for We Never Learn and Dr. Stone. Like, they won't be the same as what I did with every single episode, because the Dr. Stone anime is really good. It's like almost verbatim and adaptation, except adding a few little things and changing a few little scenes around, but nothing to the detriment of the story itself, which is what the Promised Neverland should have been. Like, I'm just going to say it right now, but I'm just in bless. And you guys already know my initial thoughts on this chapter, because I've made it perfectly clear in the past. Suika, the little melon girl, is my favourite character, and this chapter is a Suika chapter. Just gonna say it right here, this is 100% a Suika chapter, so let's just dive right into it. But first things first, gotta have the hat on. You thought I was gonna go to the opening. God damn it! Okay, so let's just get right into it right now. I just wanted to do that joke, really, and I am not prepared in the slightest. So let's just boot up the app. Chapter 185. So yeah, this is chapter 185, titled "Lovely Cleavage Plain." Now, this is a reference to diamond itself, as in like, if you destroy one part of a diamond, it's basically non-functioning, and it has to have like a lovely cleavage plane to like function properly. But anyway, I've just got to start off by talking about this cover page of just Kazuki stepping on Senku's face. Like, has Senku got a weird fetish there? I don't know, but it was certainly something I wasn't expecting. Okay, so the chapter starts off with a recap of what's been going on, where we have they're reiterating that when Stanley's gang attacks, they'll be switching on the petrification tower, signalling it to send a 3,000 meter radius over 1 second to depetrify everyone, and then getting someone far away, which I wonder who it could be at this point. But anyway, they're going to send that person far away so that they can come back in and actually revive them. Now, things I want to say here right now is that we all called this with Suika, and Red from Control Chaos is not very happy about that. Probably I've not watched their video yet on this chapter, so can't really say that, but I'm just going to assume that he is not happy on that front, because he reckons that it's a little bit odd that they keep sending Suika, an 8-year-old, into mortal danger all the time, which I kind of take umbrage here, and I kind of take umbrage with them referring to her as a child soldier in their last review. Now, I still love the guys, love them a lot, but I kind of take umbrage with that, because Suika is not a child soldier. Like, most of the stuff she's done prior to the most recent arc, she's done of her own free will. This includes volunteering herself to find out what the people of Ishigami Village wanted, most of anything, which was obviously something new. She did have her own free will, gave her helmet to Kinru in the Village games, led Hyoga's group away, stayed up all night to find the tungsten, and the list could go on and on and on. And most recently in the anime, we had the scene where she went into Sukasa's camp, of her own free will, mind you, because they were scolding her when she got back. She did it of her own free will to go and find out if Chrome was alright. So yeah, I take umbrage with them saying that a little bit. I know they were kind of kidding, but calling Suiko a child soldier, I don't see that. Like, she's a proper member of the Kingdom of Silence, she's part of the main cast, so she's got to be involved in some way. But anyway, continuing on, Ryusui and Senku go on to say that Haha, no time to lose, folks. We've got to finish the fortification before Stanley and his people crash the party. Am I wrong? The real issue is the thing smack dab in the middle of the fort, the petrification tower. If they can revive one of the Medusa devices, then they've got this battle won. But of course, this being Dr. Stone, nothing goes perfect the first time. As we see Karsuke trying his damnedest to figure out how this device actually works. As he goes on to say, thanks, it's all thanks to my guts, but it's also left him a mountain of failures. So he's been trying again and again to get these devices working, and they're not working to his liking. As Gen says, why not attempt what Dio Joel managed to do? Basically taking the diamond out and reinserting it to give it like that big boost of energy that it was lifting up. But of course, Kossi was like, yeah, I tried that, it didn't work. And I love the fact that he's actually been trying every single little detail, every single thing that he can think of, like, oh, I could just take out the battery and reinstall it. No, it didn't work. Oh, I could just take it apart. Yeah, that's not working. I can't figure this out. And Senku goes on to say, no wonder, since the babies are thousands of years old. And Yukio reiterates by saying, right, the Medusa that Joel's working on is the only newish one that they actually have at this point. But I just want to say there, these babies are thousands of years old. Senku, have you been reading My Hero Academia and being a fanboy of Mei Hatsumi again? Sorry, I just had to bring up that joke. But yeah, I like the fact that this was actually brought up in the chapter, because of course these devices are thousands of years old. So of course the diamonds in them are probably rusted away at this point. But then again, I'm no scientist, so I could be completely wrong on that front. Kazuki continues to work on making the battery for the Medusa and trying to get a fully functioning Medusa working for the petrification tower, as he says. So we've got to dig in deeper into our guts and craft one for themselves, a new battery with the perfect shape and size. And I said this on David on Control Chaos said this on his Twitch stream, that I can kind of see them actually going to Africa to actually build Diamond City, because it was the only other continent that actually had humans on that they actually didn't put a map, they actually didn't put a city on. So I could still see them like making, if they really wanted to just expand the series a little bit more, going to Africa, creating Diamond City, or going to like something in China and getting Tech City to get computers for the spaceship. That's just a minor tangent I wanted to go off on, and whether or not that happens, that remains to be seen. But anyway, we cut back to Corn City, and again, I love this, the fact that we're cutting back between the two groups, and we're not actually forgetting about the group in Corn City. So we're actually giving them a little bit of time to shine in this chapter. Quite literally, because they're working with diamonds. But anyway, Joe, as they try to work the device, Miami is like, "You're not helping." As she's saying that to Joe, saying that to Yo, and like, "You're not helping," and she's there to Joel. It's like, "Here's okay," as he's getting all flustered again, as per nature of his character. Joel then says, "It's a perfect match in shape and size. If my skills can't pull it off, then no one in the world can do it. Could be an ordinary diamond somehow isn't the answer. There's got to be a key difference. But what?" As we see Kazuki working on, basically we get a parallel image of Joel looking at the diamond, and also Kazuki looking at the diamond. So so maybe Kazuki will be the one to actually figure out how this diamond actually functions in the Medusa itself. And I love the neat parallels that are going on here between Joel and Kazuki, how they're both craftsmen. They both spend all their lives just dedicated to their crafts. And I feel like once this is all over, once the series is all over, Kazuki and Joel and possibly Yusuriya could open a crafting center, like Yusuriya working with tailor-made stuff, and Kazuki and Joel working with all the craft stuff. I could see that actually happening. Those three working together, building stuff that can actually bring the world back to somewhat of a stable civilization. As Kazuki mentions that they haven't heard a peep of Joel, and he thinks that he's going around in circles and he still can't figure out anything that's going on with this device. We see Senku going here, running around in circles, not even 1 millimeter. Think about it. Joel the pro and you with a mountain of samples can't seem to pull it off. That tells us that something is wrong, and that tidbit of knowledge is worth its weight in gold. So again, I love Senku's words of encouragement that he's been doing over the past few chapters, like basically saying like, hang on, if you and Joel can't figure this out, yes, something's wrong, because I know you guys are more than capable of figuring this thing out. So obviously there must be something wrong. And Kazuki goes on to say, "Oh, this rare pep talk from Senku works wonders." As Chrome and Kwaku are in disagreement, as Chrome says, "In 10 billion years, I never thought we'd hear encouragement from him." So I love the different perspectives that everyone has on Senku. It's like, oh, he's giving us words of encouragement. We've not seen that in ages. And they're like, yeah, we never thought in 10 billion years that we would hear encouragement from him. As Luna, in all her infinite comedic talent, is like, are you implying he's some kind of monster? If you've seen some of the things that Senku's done and some of the actions and faces that he's made, Luna, well, actually, I see your point. Oh, okay, yeah, you do, because if you remember back in Corner City when he was doing that scary face when you first appeared on the Perseus, yeah, maybe you should be taking more notes about the kind of people you wanna fuck, Luna. Ryusuke then goes on to say that it's just stating the blunt truth at the core of trial and error, a string of errors. Sorry, my wording just went over there. A string of errors isn't a dead end; it's progress, and yeah, that's pretty factual. It's like you see an error, you're like, okay, how do we overcome this error to actually get to the goal that we wanna achieve? It's kind of like what's been happening with me with my book at the moment. It's like when I'm going through the edits, and it's like it's coming up with like, oh, please revise this sentence, and I'm thinking like, okay, this is an error, and I have to figure out how to overcome this error whilst also getting the same point across. It's kind of the same thing here. So again, all trials and errors and figuring out the science behind of like, okay, what would make most sense for this character to say that gets my meaning across in the character's description and dialogue. So yeah, lots of trial and errors with my book at the moment, so it's gonna probably take me a couple of months to get through that, but working hard on it, as these guys are as well. Kazuki goes on to reiterate that because one tiny error can ruin the diamond, and Chrome brings up that he doesn't think that that's it. These diamond batteries you are making are solid as heck, and he'd say they're even tougher than the ones found in the Medusa. And of course, Kazuki being Kazuki, he doesn't kind of get it, but it's grounds to perfection. He says, I still got it, don't I? Ground to perfection so that they won't crack. So yeah, he's saying like, okay, I've still got it, so that we've got to ground it down to perfection so that these diamonds will not crack, because as we saw with the Medusa, one single bullet was enough to cause a crack in the Medusa from Stanley when he shot and fired at it when they were escaping Corn City. And this gets Kazuki thinking and being like, oh my god, I've just had a brainwave here. And I know I said this was a Suika chapter, but it's more, the first half is more focused on Kazuki, more so, and the second half is more focused on Suika. So I'd say it's 50-50, like a Suika and Kazuki chapter, which is fine, because Kazuki is in my top 5 favourite characters, along with Suika. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm just finding it out, like, yeah, it's kind of, the first half is more focused on Kazuki than Suika. But anyway, he goes on to say, wait, an artist like me would never want to make a gem that could crack. So then why? Before he thinks back on what Sinu and Kohaku have said by saying, I see cracks likely along the cleavage plane. So again, like I said, this is the title is a reference to the fact that you need like a straight clean cleavage plane on a diamond, because if there's one small crack, then it's all over, and it's not valued whatever, and that's the same for anything. Like, people are very regiment when it comes to like mineral or just anything in general. Like, one small crack and then that's it. The value on that item is like less than it was if it was absolutely perfect. It's the same with like trading cards and volumes of manga. Like, one small wear and tear, and then it's as useful as like a small garden pea, basically. But anyway, Kazuki gets the bright idea of saying, there's these diamonds from the Medusa. Now, if I want to whack them just so, as he whacks them all down into every single diamond battery, And Suika questions why did they crack right down the middle so cleanly, and this gets Senku and Sinu grinning with joy, saying, "Running through the lines that intersect at the tip are cleavage planes where the crystal bond is weakest." So those lines might be channeling something. Okay, so the cleavage lines are basically, from what I can tell, are like the lines that are channeling the energy that goes through the diamond, through and through the Medusa itself. Kosuke then reiterates that he find is it Kosuke? No, it's Chrome that's saying this line, that Chrome finally gets how the structure is supposed to be, and now they just have to. It's now just a battle against time, and Kosuke's wishing that he could give Joel the hint of things run smoother if they could fill each other in about the discovery. But of course, Senku's reminding him that they cannot send out radio waves in case Stanley is the one to even pick up on their location and figure it out. As they all go on to say that they've got to find someone to hide from the real threat far from the post, and this key criminal operative who's gonna be the one to revive them all. And of course it's Suika, and she just gets bubbly with excitement. It's like, I finally get to do something important in this arc, because the thing is with Suika, she hasn't really done anything of importance aside from help out the guys capture Sinu. But then again, they could have easily not included. Well, they needed her to distract them to get the guards past the door so that they can actually get in. So I suppose she was useful in that regard, but nothing really major since Treasure Island, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing in the slightest for me, because I've said time and time again that I would prefer it if my favourite characters were actually given a little bit of the back burner in certain arcs, so that more characters could actually have their chance at the spotlight, and it makes the moments where they actually do something incredible that much more impactful. And obviously, I might as well just go into it right now. Why Suika is my favourite character in the series. I've just loved her character since the beginning. I've loved her when she first showed up. I just loved how she had such a bubbling nature. How she was just willing to help, like kind of like having a little bit of me in there. Like seeing, like, I just want to be useful to people. I just want to be able to help people. And when people actually say, like, yes, you are the one that's going to be doing this. This is your thing. I'm just like, finally, I get to be useful. I get to be useful for a change, and I just love her energy. I love her comedic timing as well. She has some of the funnier moments in the series. In my opinion, and she's just a bundle of joy. Now, Red says that, oh, she's the mascot. She's there to be cute, and yeah, based on the things that she's done, she's not just there to be the mascot. She's been one of the most useful, one of the most proactive members of the Kingdom of Science since she first showed up. In fact, she was the third member of Ichigami Village to join the Kingdom of Science. Keep that in mind. It went Kohaku, Chrome, and then Suika. Like, those three were the first people to join the Kingdom of Science, and also she was the first person to get a cocktail in the new Stone World. She gets that distinction. No one can take that away from her. But again, she's just been such a useful character throughout the series, done so many great feats that basically she's the person. Now, keep in mind, she's the reason why Senku got Ishigami Village on his side in the first place, because he had no idea what the Village people wanted, and obviously they weren't going to ask Kohaku or Chrome, because they were talking with Senku, and they're like, talking with an outsider. Like, we're not gonna pay attention to them. But of course, Suika being there, having a melon, going around the village, finding out what the people wanted, and giving them food. So yeah, need I remind you guys that Suika is the reason why Senku has gotten as far as he has, because I doubt that if Suika wasn't in the series, then Rui probably would have died, because he wouldn't have been able to get the people on his side. He wouldn't have been able to get the firepower that he needed to create the iron to actually start up the process of creating the antibiotics. So remember, guys, Suika is more than a mascot. She's the reason why Senku made it so far. And of course, her shining moment for me, when I was like, she's my favourite character, is when she helped Kinru basically beat down Magma, so that he was weakened enough so that Chrome could take him out of the village game. So again, she helped immensely in basically making sure that the Kingdom of Science had all its members as the finals for the Ishigami village games. And of course, she led Hyoga's group away. She helped them find the oil with the pigs. What else did she do? She did so much more. Oh yeah, she went and checked up on Chrome in enemy territory of her own free will. She obviously helped immensely in Treasure Island. I could go on a entire video about that. In fact, I'm meant to be going on a entire video about that. But yeah, that's why Suika is my favourite character, because she's more than just the mascot character. She is an immensely helpful character. And like I said, without her, Senku wouldn't have gotten as far as he did, and she just has a lot of energy. And what I love most about her is the fact that she's used in chunks. She's not overexposed. She's a main character. Yes, she is one of the main cast members. If I was going to pick like the 5 main cast members, Senku, Chrome, Kohaku, Gen, and Suika, like those 5, I would say are the main characters of the series, like the leading characters. Obviously, there are other leading characters, but those 5 are the ones that actually come to mind pretty often. Like Taiju has been like basically pushed to the side in favor of like Chrome, Kohaku, Suika, and Gen. But yeah, those 5 I'd say are the most prominent main characters of the series. So again, she is a main character, but I love the fact that she's used in chunks, and this is evident from the fact that even though she didn't do much in Corn City, the New American City arc, I don't mind so much, because I knew that, okay, she had a big role in Treasure Island, so we're going to keep her a step back and save her for later, and this is her shining moment. So as Suika is getting her task and getting herself geared up and saying, hiding, Suika is really good at that. And again, I love the fact that I finally get to do a Suika chapter whilst doing the reviews of the series. This is the first one I'm doing that's focused primarily on Suika. Kawaka goes on to say, not to mention it'll be safer for you far away from the battle, which does actually make sense. That Red was like, oh, why are they giving her the task of reviving everyone? If you actually think about it, it makes sense to keep her as far away from Stanley as possible. But as we'll see at the end of this chapter, we all know with Dr. Stone something bad's going to happen, and they've been succeeding relatively quickly. We knew this was coming, so of course keep that in mind. Ryusui goes on to say, I'm worried not, since Francois will assist. As Francois goes on to say, with my support, Master Suika will want for nothing. With my support, Master Suika will want for nothing. Okay, I don't know what Francois is getting at here, but hey, if they're saying, Master Suika will want for nothing with my support, I don't get what she's saying that what they're saying that yeah, I kind of keep going between she and they because we don't know Francois' gender, so I apologise if they are a male. I will correct it, but if they are a female, I will continue going with the she preferences. But for now, I'm going to try my best to keep calling them they. Anyway, this is another thing I love. I just love their relationship that Francois and Suika have. They work well together. They've worked well together ever since Francois showed up. We've seen them interact quite a bit. Like they interacted in the Age of Exploration arc when they were building the Perseus and they were actually finding the pigs and the oil. We had the moment where Francois made the cocktail for Suika, and obviously we had her on the bike, on the motorcycle. So yeah, they work well together. They interact together, and it's nice that we get more moments like this between these two characters as they're discussing where they should actually go, and Suika suggests that she should hide near the river, as Francois agrees with her, as there she'll be able to make regular food deliveries, and one cannot survive without fresh water. Furthermore, we anticipate that Master Stanley and his competitors will reach our location by travelling upriver. Staking out the river may allow you to detect the enemy before they detect us. And of course, as soon as she says that, Suika detects the enemy. Now, where they're actually coming up is actually the Rio Grande, like the river right bang in the middle of Brazil. So that's where Stanley is coming from to get to Axaris. That's something that actually Cable, the translator for Dr. Stone, actually brought up, that Stanley and his forces came up the Rio Grande, which makes sense as we see them coming up there, and we see them having Matsukaze and Ginru in tow, and I love that, because it actually adds to the theory that I've got coming up, although at the end of this chapter that theory might be out of the water, but I'll explain when we get to the end. As Stanley and his forces are walking up the Amazon rainforest, or the rainforest that's actually been sprayed from the Amazon, we see Maya going, just gotta look for plums of smoke here. As Stanley says, I'm sure the Junior Science Brigade were going here where Axarius is, because there are minerals that are actually here, and that's going to make fire, and that's going to mean fire and smoke, as they're just like being dicks to Ginru, like saying, keep up the pace, prisoner. And we see Francois and Suika actually find out like they've actually got Ginru and Matsukaze, and Suika's actually freaking out here. It's like, we've got to warn the people, we've got to warn Senku and everyone that Stanley's forces are coming, and they've got Ginru and Matsukaze. But Francois is saying no wireless communication is their last resort, because employing it will allow them to discover their location. As instrumental figures to the strategy's success, they cannot risk their own safety like that. As we see a spider, which I can't for the life of me remember the name of this spider, but the official name, but it's mostly known as Brazilian wandering spider. As we see it going after Charlotte, and Francois is figuring out like, what the heck is that smell? What the heck is that smell? And they should have to return on foot, but before they can do, the spider actually attacks Charlotte, which from what I can tell from what the research that I've done, that this spider's bite actually causes your heart rate to start beating at an alarming rate, and it can actually kill a person. Like, these, like, spiders' bites are nothing to fuck around with, because this spider's bite can not only make your heart rate beat faster as well, based on what I've seen, but it can also cause something down there to last a really long... It can cause an erection for a long time. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This spider's bite can apparently cause long-lasting erections, so it can basically cause the effects of Viagra. That's basically what it can do. Anyway, we see Charlotte getting bitten, and obviously looking in intense pain from that bite. As Suika is saying, the enemy lady must have gotten bitten by something, and they go into a flashback where Senku's explaining, if Vedum's causing a fit of spams, this item is your last resort for first aid. Remember when we made the dynamite, the swab in stoked in the same nitroglycerin. So and rubbing the swab onto the skin will expand the coronary artery and kickstart the heart back to life like bam. So basically, this is something that this is some sort of like antidote for this kind of this kind of spider's bite, just in case something like this that does happen. And Francois is actually debating in her head, going, we are central to this operation, we mustn't be caught. But she's also there looking at this woman that, even though she's the enemy, she doesn't want to actually die. And Suika, being Suika, and obviously taking a cue from Senku, actually goes and starts helping out Charlotte, and actually heals her back to life. Now, some people were from the people that I've actually talked to in this chapter, they were kind of against Suika doing this, but quite frankly, this is something Senku would do, because he said right at the beginning of the series that if he had a chance, he would save everyone. So I'm not blaming Suika for doing this, because she's just taking a cue from Senku. She's thinking like, what would Senku do? And he would use science to actually help out people as best they could. And so she's just following the examples of one of her teachers, one of her mentors, one of the people that she actually looks up to, despite what happens with the operation. Actually, Senior brings this up as a good point, which I'll get to in a moment. So as Charlotte is roaming around in pain, Senku's questioning Senku and going, what you must know about Stanley is that in order to reach his general, he will not hesitate to slaughter anyone. So Stanley's kind of the guy who will be like, oh, Charlotte got bitten, never mind. And this is kind of a callback to what happened in Corn City, where as soon as Luna had fulfilled her task, he was like, yep, my job's done here. Oh, I don't care about Luna. And this is kind of like the contrast between Senku, because Senku's a guy, even though he won't admit it, he cares enough about his friends to actually, like, no man is being left behind because they're just as important to me building up civilization again as the next person, despite what we as an audience may think about them, and despite what the other characters may think about them. Senku's just the pro-neutral guy, whereas Stanley's bordering on the line of chaotic evil at this point, as his senior, as he's like going on to say, ethic and moral do not come into play because this is simply his job as a soldier, and Senku is well aware of that. As Senior goes, all those lovely pictures you sparked reveal your inherent weakness, just like fragile cleavage planes. So basically he's saying, like, he's comparing Senku to a fragile cleavage plane of a diamond. So like one slip up, one crack in the system, and then he completely falls apart as a character, as we see him getting really angry. And as Charlotte is being killed by Suika, we see Stanley's forces find Suika, forcing her to freeze as they're pointing their guns at her, and that's where the chapter ends. So, well, big chapter for Suika here, like really big chapter here. But again, that speech that Sinu gave to Senku at the end, that's basically been a flaw that's being pointed out by not just Sinu but also Tsukasa. Like Tsukasa pointed out that Senku is a very sentimental person and wouldn't put anyone else's life in danger in the same way that Suika didn't want to put Charlotte's life in danger, and she thought, like, I have to save this person, and I'm not going to fault her for that, because she's basically learned from Senku. It's like, use science to save everyone, like just use science to save everyone. And like I said, this is something that she's picked up on, and obviously it came into play here and it backfired immensely. So I don't know where they're going to go from here. Now we knew that something was going to go wrong, but I didn't expect it in this way. I expected it in a completely different way. But I still reckon that Suika is going to be one of the people to be left behind, and she's probably going to have to team up now with Francois, Matsukaze and Ginru to actually stop Stanley. I feel like those three are going to be key to taking down Stanley, and maybe even Charlotte. Maybe Charlotte will actually vouch for Suika and be like, no, don't shoot, please don't shoot, she saved my life. So that's possibilities that can come out of it. I don't see Suika dying. I don't want her to die because obviously she's my favourite character, but I don't think they would actually have the balls to go ahead and kill off Suika and kill off not just one of the main characters but a young child. But hey, who knows what might happen in the next chapter, and that face from Senku, I guarantee that's going to come back into play in a big way at some point. But anyway guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And do you think Suika made the right choice in here, or are you pissed off? Like I'm sure some other people are going to be pissed off. Personally, for me, I'm not pissed off at her because she was just following what she believed that Senku would do. But anyway, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and all that jazz. And this will be Lashalug signing off. Later, guys.